Did you know Ireland has stone pavements so vast they look like lunar landscapes? Did you know there is a monastery perched on a pyramid of rock 12 kilometers out in the Atlantic, and that beneath the ground lies a living archive of 10,000 years, preserved in peat so deep you could dig 1 meter down and touch the past? From cliffs that dwarf skyscrapers to rivers that barely know how to fall, these are 50 Ireland geography facts you won't believe are true. Fact 50. The Burren Lunar Landscape. The Burren in County Clare covers 250 square kilometres of naked limestone. From above, it looks like the moon. Grey stone pavements called clints, separated by deep cracks called grikes. No soil, no trees, just rock. And yet, 70% of Ireland's plant species survive here. The stone absorbs summer heat and releases it in winter, a desert that blooms. That Burren rock is 340 trillion years old. Back then, Ireland sat 10 degrees south of the equator in a shallow tropical sea. The limestone is fossilized coral reef, compressed shells, ancient creatures. Walk the Burren and you're walking on the Caribbean. Dead, grey, frozen, but still the Caribbean. Ireland's most famous cliffs rise 214 metres straight from the Atlantic. That's taller than a 70-story building. They erode about 1 centimetre every decade. Waves undercut the base, gravity finishes the job, and massive chunks collapse into the sea. The edge you stand on today won't be there forever. Fact 47th, 30,000 neighbours on a ledge. The cliffs of Moher host 30,000 breeding seabird pairs during peak season. Over 20 species, razorbills, kittiwakes, guillemots, puffins. Each claims its own ledge, its own floor. A vertical city, denser than Manhattan and twice as loud. Fact 46. Great stalactite. Beneath the Burren lie over 70 cave systems. Doolin Cave holds the Great Stalactite, 7 Point. Fact 45th. Pol and Ionian Abyss. Hidden in the Burren, the formation is 3 meters long, one of Europe's largest free-hanging formations. It has grown for thousands of years, drip by patient drip. The Burren has 2 faces. The underground one is more beautiful. Plunging 150 meters straight down, that's a 50-story building inverted. A narrow entrance opens into darkness. Cave divers descend into flooded chambers. Nobody knows where it truly ends. Fact 44. The Shannon, Ireland's longest giant. The River Shannon stretches 360 kilometres, the longest river in the British Isles. But it only rises 76 metres from source to sea. That's less elevation than a 25-story building. For 360 kilometres, the Shannon barely remembers it is supposed to fall. A river that's half lake. Only 45% of the Shannon is flowing water. The rest is lakes. Lough Derg, Lough Ree, Lough Allen. Measure just the river sections, and it's only 161 kilometres. Is it a river or a lake chain? Yes. Fact 42. The Shannon drains 16,900 square kilometres, almost a fifth of Ireland. 17 counties depend on it. Since Viking times, it has been Ireland's natural border. Whoever controlled the Shannon controlled Ireland. Fact 41. Lough Neagh, the shallow giant. Lough Neagh in Northern Ireland is the largest. A freshwater lake in the British Isles. 383 square kilometres, bigger than Malta, but it averages only 8.9 metres deep. You could stand in most of it, a vast shallow mirror, holding back the sky. A giant through the Isle of Man legend. One legend says Finn McCool ripped the earth from the ground and hurled it towards Scotland. It became the Isle of Man. The hole filled with water and became Lough Neagh. Geologically, it is nonsense, but myths tell better truths. The land feels torn, hollowed, like something was taken. Fact 30. Little Skellig, a bird island. East of Skellig Michael is Little Skellig. Humans are banned. 30,000 pairs of gannets own it, the world's second largest colony. The rock is plastered white with birds and guano. From a distance it looks like snow. Up close it's a living, screaming organism. Fact 29. Achill Island. Still feels like an island. Achill is Ireland's largest island, 148 square kilometers, connected by bridge since 1887. You drive across on asphalt, but it still feels like the end of the world. Geography isn't just connection. Fact 28. The deserted village of Achill. On Slievemore Mountain lie 80 to 100 stone cottages, abandoned during the Great Famine. The deserted village is frozen sorrow. The stones remember people who lived, farmed, and died here. Now only wind remains. Stay. Souls leave. Croaghaun's cliffs rise over Keem Bay. Croaghaun Mountain rises 688 meters and plunges into the sea, one of Europe's highest sea cliffs. Below lies Keem Bay, a horseshoe beach enclosed by 200-meter cliffs, almost completely surrounded, one of Ireland's most isolated beaches, the ocean's secret. Fact 26. The hill that defies gravity. Near Jenkinstown in County Louth, cars roll uphill when you take your foot off the brake. The road looks like it climbs, but your eyes are lying. The landscape tilts and tricks your brain. Ireland has a hill where gravity itself feels drunk. Fact 25. Pool na Brone Dolmen is older than the pyramids. In the Burren, the tomb is 5,800 years old. It predates Stonehenge and the pyramids. Massive capstones balance on thin uprights. 22 individuals were buried here. Built with no writing, no metal, just stone and will. Fact 24. 500 stone forts dot the Burren. The Burren holds over 500 ring forts from the early Middle Ages. Almost every hilltop has one. Circular stone walls that once enclosed farmsteads. Ireland from 400 to 1200 was fractured and warring. Every farmer needed a fortress. Glaciers stole the Burren soil. 10,000 years ago, Ice Age glaciers scraped the Burren like sandpaper. They polished the rock smooth and carried away all the topsoil. What remained was naked limestone and never returned it. Fact 22. Aran Islands, frost-free miracle. The Aran Islands off the coast of Galway enjoy a warmer microclimate. Frost is rare. The Atlantic stores summer heat and releases it in winter. Grass grows nearly year-round. Most Irish cattle move down from hills in winter. On Aran, they move up. Fact 21. Arctic meets Mediterranean in the Burren. The Burren is a botanical paradox. Arctic plants like mountain avens grow beside Mediterranean maidenhair fern on the same rock. Deep grikes stay cool, like Scandinavia. Flat clints bake hot, like Spain. North and south share a square meter. Fact 20. Carnivorous plants in the Burren. In nutrient-poor cracks, plants turn predator. Butterwort and sundew trap insects on sticky leaves for nitrogen the soil cannot provide. When the ground does not feed you, you eat flies. Fact 19. Shannon. Ireland has a monster. The Shannon has Cata, a creature with a horse's head, a whale's tail, and iron claws. It was first mentioned in the medieval Book of Lismore. Scotland has Nessie. Ireland has its own legendary beast. Both remain unproven, both unforgotten. Fact 18. Ireland has an estimated 12,000 lakes. Lakes most small, many in peat bogs. 12,000 on an island smaller than Indiana. Water everywhere. The Irish word lough is pronounced loch. Skellig and the Reeks were family. Skellig Michael and McGillicuddy's Reeks are the same red sandstone 370 million years. They were once part of the same mountain range, then the sea rose. The Reeks stayed. Skellig became an island, mountains orphaned by the ocean. Fact 16. Shannon's tidal breath. At the Shannon Estuary and Galway Bay, tides reach 4 to 5 meters. Twice daily, the ocean inhales and exhales water. Coast breathes. Boats rest on mud, then float. The boundary between land and sea is a suggestion. Fact 15. Cliffs of Moher Seabird Apartments. 30,000 breeding pairs occupy the cliffs from April to July. Each species claims its floor. Razorbills low, kittiwakes high, guillemots on ledges. Puffins on Goat Island, a vertical city where every resident knows its place. Fact 14. Storm petrels fear the light. On Skellig Michael, storm petrels nest in crevices, but only return at night. They fear daylight and predators. They rule the sea, but surrender the shore to darkness. Thousands swirl around the island after sunset, invisible. Since the last ice age, Ireland lost 5 to 10% of its landmass to rising seas and erosion. Submerged landscapes lie offshore. The continental shelf remembers when Ireland was bigger. Fact 21st. Arctic meets Mediterranean in the Burren. The Burren is a botanical paradox. Arctic plants like mountain avens grow beside Mediterranean maidenhair fern. On the same rock, deep grikes stay cool like Scandinavia. Flat clints bake hot like Spain. North and south share the same square meter. Fact 20. Carnivorous plants in the Burren. In nutrient-poor cracks, plants turn predator. Butterwort and sundew trap insects on sticky leaves for nitrogen the soil cannot provide. When the ground does not feed you, you eat flies. Fact 19. The Shannon has a monster carter, a creature with a horse's head, a whale's tail, and iron claws. It was first mentioned in the medieval Book of Lismore. Scotland has Nessie. Ireland has Cata. Both are unproven, and both are unforgotten. Fact 18. Ireland has an estimated 12,000 lakes, most of them small, and many lie in peat bogs. 12,000 on an island smaller than Indiana. Water everywhere. The Irish word is lough. Say it like loch. Skellig and the Reeks were family. Skellig Michael and McGillicuddy's Reeks are the same red sandstone for 370 million years old. Once the same mountain range, then the sea rose. The Reeks stayed. Skellig became an island. Mountains orphaned by the ocean. Shannon tidal breath. At the Shannon Estuary and Galway Bay, tides reach 4 to 5 meters. Twice daily, the ocean inhales and exhales water. The coast breathes. Boats rest on mud, then float. The boundary between land and sea is a suggestion. Fact 15. Cliffs of Moher Seabird Apartments. 30,000 breeding pairs occupy the cliffs from April to July. Each species claims its floor. Razorbills low, kittiwakes high, guillemots on ledges, puffins on Goat Island. A vertical city where every resident knows its place. Fact 14. Storm petrels. Fear the light. On Skellig Michael, storm petrels nest in crevices, but only return at night. They fear daylight and predators. They rule the sea, but but surrender the shore to darkness. Thousands swirl around the island after sunset, invisible. Ireland lost land to the sea. Since the last ice age, Ireland lost 5 to 10% of its landmass to rising seas and erosion. Submerged landscapes lie offshore. The continental shelf remembers when Ireland was bigger. Fact 12. Coastal erosion never sleeps. Cliffs erode slowly, about 1 centimeter. It happens per decade, but storms accelerate everything. Waves undermine the cliffs, gravity waits, and then they collapse. Sea stacks offshore are former cliffs cut off, proof that the edge keeps moving. Fact 11. Ireland's limestone came from the tropics. 340 million years ago, Ireland floated near the equator in warm, shallow seas. Coral reefs thrived. When they died, they compressed into limestone. The Burren, the Aran Islands, and Central Ireland are built from that rock. The rock beneath your feet is a tropical graveyard. Fact 10. Mount Brandon's western gaze. It rises 952 meters on the Dingle Peninsula, staring west. Pilgrims have climbed it for 1,500 years following St. Brendan. Legend says he sailed from here to the Isle of the Blessed, maybe North America. The mountain still looks west, waiting. Fact 9. Keem Bay, the hidden horseshoe. Keem Bay is a crescent beach on a kill, almost entirely enclosed by 200-meter cliffs. From above, it looks like a bite taken out of the coast. Sheltered, turquoise, so isolated it feels like a secret. The Shannon's military spine for 1,000 years. The Shannon was Ireland's frontier. Vikings sailed it in 839. Keem Bay, the hidden horseshoe. Keem Bay is a crescent beach on Achill, almost entirely enclosed by 200-meter cliffs. From above, it looks like a bite from the coast. Sheltered, turquoise, so isolated it feels like a secret. The Shannon's military spine. For years, the Shannon was Ireland's frontier. Vikings sailed it in 839. Medieval armies fought on its banks. Control the Shannon, control Ireland. Rivers do not just carry water, they carry history. The Burren's living warmth. Burren limestone stores heat like a battery. Summer sun warms rock. The Burren radiates warmth through winter. Ground temperatures rarely drop below 6 degrees, the threshold for grass growth. The Burren has Ireland's longest growing season. The rock is alive. Malin Head marks the edge of temperature. Malin Head, Ireland's northernmost point, has Europe's smallest annual temperature range. Hot, winter, never cold. The Atlantic smooths everything into eternal moderation. Climate of compromise. Fact 5. Ireland remembers fire. Ireland once had volcanoes. The Antrim Plateau holds basaltic lavas from 60 million years ago. Older traces exist too. The land remembers fire that died before humans existed. 172 dolmens. Ireland holds 172 portal tombs from the Neolithic. Paulnabrone is most famous, but dozens more dot the countryside. Silent witnesses to civilizations that built in stone because nothing else would last. Ireland's coastline is never finished. The coast doesn't. It erodes, it builds. Sandbars shift, inlets open and close, storms redraw bays overnight. The map of Ireland is a living document, constantly revised. A rough draft that never reaches final form. Fact 2. On Croaghan sits Bunafriva Loch West, a lough on the edge. A lake at 350 meters, overlooking a 600-meter drop to the sea. A lake on the edge of nothing. One step too far, you fall half a kilometer. The lake reflects the sky, unaware of the abyss. Fact 1. A land that rewrites itself, from Shifting peat bogs to eroding cliffs to rivers that barely fall, Ireland's geography is never finished. Storm, fire, ice and time are not history. They're current events. Whether it is bog march, cliff collapse or ancient land drowning beneath the sea, Ireland remains one of Europe's most geographically dynamic places. The map is always changing. The island rewrites itself. If these 50 facts changed how you see Ireland, you're exactly the explorer who we're looking for. Drop a comment and tell us which fact blew your mind. And subscribe, because we're mapping the most incredible geography on the planet, one place